Thank you all so very much. Brad, thank you for the very kind introduction. It is great to be with Red State, and it's great to be from a red state. You know, if you look at what has transpired on this stage today, it sure does mess up the narrative that the liberals and the liberal media like to promote. Look at who just spoke. Carly Fiorina, a conservative who actually survived California. And the first woman CEO of a Fortune 20 company. Earlier, we had Nikki Haley, the first woman governor of South Carolina. We had Bobby Jindal, the first Indian American governor in the United States of America. And then following me will be Marco Rubio, the son of Cuban immigrants and the youngest candidate for president in 2016. And then there's me, a guy in a wheelchair. But I am proof that we live in a country where a young man's life can literally be broken in half and yet still rise up and be governor of the 12th largest economy in the entire world. My fellow Texans know this, but the Georgians may not. On a hot summer day like today, when I was 26 years old, I went out for a jog and a huge tree crashed down onto my back, fracturing my vertebrae into my spinal cord, leaving me forever paralyzed and unable to walk. Those who hear that for the first time always wonder, how slow was that guy jogging to get hit by a falling tree? Piecing my life back together began with doctors piecing my vertebrae back together. And then those doctors put 2 steel rods up and down my back to hold those vertebrae in place for the rest of my life. You've had politicians tell you before that they will have a spine of steel. I really do have one. And as Brad said, I have used my steel spine to fight back against an overreaching federal government that has been trampling your liberty. I have set a record in the United States that probably will never be broken. I have sued Barack Obama 31 times. I filed those lawsuits because the president has defied the Constitution of the United States of America. He's trampled your liberty by empowering bureaucrats to run your lives. I'd like to remind you of some language from a tremendous President, Ronald Reagan. He forewarned us that freedom is never more than 1 generation away from extinction. Our generation faces that threat today, not just from foreign enemies, but we are facing that threat from within our own country, from our own leaders. Your freedom of speech is threatened by an IRS that investigates those with whom the current administration disagrees with. Your freedom of religion is threatened by laws that coerce Christians to violate their conscience. Your freedom to keep and bear arms is threatened every single time a criminal violates the gun laws by possessing a gun in a zone that is already declared to be a gun-free zone. And your private property rights are being threatened by an EPA that is now trying to regulate ditches and ponds on your own property. Well, despite challenges like these, I remain firmly convinced that the United States of America is not broken. It is Washington, D.C. that is broken. The cure for a broken Washington, D.C. is more red states. Red states are restoring the United States of America from the bottom up. Take Texas, for example. Texas gave Obamacare the respect it deserves. We sued to stop it twice. We have rejected the promise of Obamacare expansion. We are too smart to cut a deal with a government that is $18 trillion in debt. And anyway, Texas believes in surpluses, not debt. I just ended my first legislative session as governor with a surplus of $10 billion in our rainy day fund. And another $4 billion left in our checking account. We applied the rule that leaders in Washington need to learn. Don't spend all the money. And while blue states across the nation have been outdoing themselves to increase taxes on their citizens, Texas was leading the way among red states by cutting taxes. We cut taxes and fees by $4 billion this last legislative session. Despite cutting taxes, we did spend money strategically. We spent it, among other places, where it is needed the most. Texans are sick and tired of the federal government abandoning their responsibility to secure our sovereignty under the Constitution and to fail to secure our border. So Texas is stepping up and doing what the federal government has failed to do. We are securing our southern border. Our budget included almost $1 billion more to add more law enforcement officers up and down the border. We have created a virtual fence using cameras that will detect any cross-border activity. We've added airplanes to the air to monitor what is going on the border. We added boats in the water to interdict cross-border activity. And we are sending a message to the drug cartels that continue to smuggle people into this country: stop messing with Texas. Now, Texas, like other red states, is stepping up to defend our liberties as well as to defend life itself. Instead of a federal government that attempts to limit Second Amendment rights, we passed a law this past session expanding gun rights by allowing open carry in Texas. We also believe that parents should have the liberty to educate their children the way they see best. So instead of a federal government that controls curriculum through federal mandates, Texas has already outlawed Common Core in Texas, and now we're working to expand school choice. Texas is also leading the way in protecting innocent life. Innocent life is too precious to allow the butchery of Planned Parenthood. That's why Texas has defunded Planned Parenthood. That's why we passed that law last session, ensuring that abortions would not be allowed after 20 weeks of pregnancy. And 2 days ago, a criminal investigation was launched in Texas investigating the barbaric practices of Planned Parenthood. We will not allow baby body parts to be sold like commodities in the state of Texas. We are also prioritizing, respecting, and supporting the members of our military. You know, it's because of those who fight on battlefields across the globe that we have the freedom to fight on the battleground of ideas in places like Atlanta, Georgia, and across this country. Well, I believe that our military members should not be defenseless on their own basis, so I issued an executive order allowing them to be armed when they're on bases in Texas. We made it easier for our veterans to start a business, to get a job, and to better address the challenges that they face because of PTSD. And I made it a point to ensure that we recognized all current members of the United States military as well as our veterans when I declared February 2nd as Chris Kyle Day in Texas. You know, there's one thing that's clear, and that is that there is a big difference between the mindset of Washington, D.C. and the mindset of red states. Washington seems to define success by the number of people who are dependent on government. Red states define success by the number of people who get jobs. The president continues to apologize for American exceptionalism. Red states work to achieve that exceptionalism every single day. Red states are what America is supposed to be, where liberty is more than just a catchphrase, where liberty is a governing principle.